But what we're going to be talking about today is tracking for high performance. My name is Matthew Gaddy. I've been a high performance and a productivity coach for about 8 years now. I've been interested in high performance and being a high performance coach for about a year and a half. So what we're going to be talking about today is how you can track for high performance, how you can make sure that each day that you're approaching, each time you come to work, you're getting better and you are ultimately chasing that goal of high performance, which helps you to stand out inside of your industry, helps to make you indispensable. It can help you to have a more lucrative payday and also can help you bring a lot more satisfaction. You're realizing your fullest potential inside of the work that you do. So we're going to be talking about how tracking can assist you in that particular process, and we'll go ahead and hop right into it. So the main question this presentation and this training seeks to answer is, how do you know if you're getting better? A lot of times when we are looking at things, we don't have an objective measurement. We go off of feeling. We say, well, today must have been a good day. Today has to be a high performing day because I feel good about what's been accomplished. But we often know that feelings can be fleeting. Feelings aren't a solid or an objective way to track or even capture what we've done each and every day. And there's a little bit about that on this quote on the right-hand side, and it's from Aristotle. And it simply says, we do not act rightly because we have virtue or excellent. We don't act rightly out of intrinsic reasons, but rather we have those because we have acted rightly. So the virtue and the excellence is a result of the actions rather than acting on things out of a sense of virtue and excellence. So what does that mean initially? It means that we are what we repeatedly do. Excellence then is not an act, but a habit. And this is where the tracking piece comes into high performance. If we can take these high performance actions, these actions that will help you to be productive, to perform at a higher level each and every day, and we can instill those into habits, regardless of how you feel, regardless of what you might think about yourself. If high performance becomes your habit, then guess what? You've become a high performer, not because you chased high performance, but because you've chased the little things in your day that allows you to perform at a better level. So the goal of tracking your project's progress is to make sure that your actions that enable your high performance become habitual. You want to have high performance habits, and tracking your progress is essential for you to defeating average. A lot of times with the clients that I've worked with, they're not underperformers. They're not people that are in the bottom 10%. They're usually around that 70 to 80% mark. And they're above average. But the things that got you to being above average are not always going to be the things that get you to that level of high performance, that get you from the 70th and 80th percentile to the 90th, the 95, the 97. So we want to make sure that the habits that will help us to get to that next level of success are the things that we're tracking and the things that we're monitoring. So what is tracking and what does it help you to do? So tracking is really nothing more than finding out what your key performance indicators are inside of your workplace. So if you're an engineer, what are the things that actually matter in your position? If you are in software coding, how many lines of code do you need to be writing a day? How many different types of programs do you need to be completing each quarter, each month, whatever it is? So you want to find those KPIs, and then you're going to record them if you did them on a certain day or not. The reason we do this is just so you can build a habit around the completion of your KPIs. Now, how does tracking help you? There's three ways that it helps you to achieve high performance. We're going to be talking about those three in this training as well. The first way, it helps you to see objectively. The second way, it helps you to stay on track. And thirdly, it helps you to build better habits. So we're going to be talking about each one of those and how it can help you. And there's also different activities and some examples that we can go through as well. So for everyone that's joined so far, thank you so much for coming. If you guys have any questions or any concerns, any explanations that I can make, please feel free to let me know inside of the chat. This isn't something where I'm going to say, hold all your questions to the end, because I personally forget them if I wait to the end. So you guys go ahead and ask them inside of the chat. Just let me know and we will address them then. So the very first way that tracking helps you is it helps you to see objectively. And that's what we're going to talk about in this section. So how does tracking help you to see? Kind of like we talked about before, you may think you had a good day, but did you really? Are you just ending your day on a high note, and now that feeling of euphoria, that release of dopamine that comes from ending your day on a high note is confusing you about what you actually got done during the day? because it's really easy for us to confuse getting a lot of things done and moving forward on the tasks that we have to achieve. We might move forward on tasks we have to achieve and only get one thing accomplished in any given day. But guess what? If that goal is helping us to accomplish that particular goal that you've set for yourself, or maybe your company has set for you, that's a high performing day. And if you spend all of your day getting 10 million things done that don't pertain to progressing towards any goals you have, well, guess what? Even though you may have gotten a lot of things done, that may not be a high performing day. So we want to assign metrics corresponding to what consists of a high performing day to you. What things do you need to do? How many times do you need to do a certain activity? Are there different things that you need to add to your workflow in order to make sure that you are a high performer that day? And we do this just so you can count how many high performing actions you took that day and see how frequently you're doing them. It helps you to see that objectively. It's really easier for us to sit back in hindsight and say, hey, well, we did it a couple times last week. But when you have a tracking system, you're able to look through and say, hey, I've done this 3 times in the past 7 days, and I'm consistently missing it on Tuesday. What's happening on Tuesday that's preventing me from getting this particular action in a day? This is a level of granularity that you'll be able to observe when you are utilizing a tracking process. So if you don't place intention on high performing activities each day, you won't complete them and you slip back into above average actions. This is homeostasis. Your body wants to continually do the same things it's always done because it's comfortable. It's been doing well at them. So in order for us to progress and push past above average, we're going to have to take new high performing actions, and we have to place intention on them by tracking them and recording them each day. So remember, you are your habits. What will you do today? And then this is just another example of this. How do you know if you had a high performing day? On the left-hand side, we have above average activities. These are all activities that are great to accomplish, but they may not help you to get to the goals you're trying to achieve. So we have things on here like go to work and immediately start working, answering emails as immediately as possible, worked until things were completed, you took things home that you couldn't do at work, and you worked through lunch. In and of themselves, they may or may not be good activities for you to complete. But are they high performing activities? How do you know if you've had a high performing day? You can look at this day and say, hey, it was high performing. But when you really begin to track certain activities, it allows you to understand that, hey, I did a lot of things, but I didn't really do a lot of high performance things. On the right-hand side, you might have high performance activities. Planned your day before I started working. You didn't answer your email until your most important task is done. That's what that MIT stands for. You designated time to work on tasks, left work at work so you can think, took full restorative lunch breaks and analyzed my day, and other things that pertain to you having a high performing day. The best part about this is that you're able to create work days by design rather than living through them by default. When you are selecting and purposefully choosing what you're putting into your day, you're designing your workday and you're making sure that every action that you're taking will help you to achieve a particular goal. So as an activity, what I would like you all to do is to pick one area of your life that you want to become a high performer in. It could be at work, it could be in your finances, it could be in your health, it could be in the relationship that you have in your family. Then the second thing you want to do is to choose 3 activities you can track that will help you to become better in that particular area. And then number 3, if you're brave, post it in the chat and I can help you pick some things to track. So as an example, let's pick one. Let's say that fitness is something that I want to become a high performer in. So what are 3 activities that I can track that will help me to become better in that area? It could be, did I eat a balanced, or did I follow some sort of diet plan today? Did I work out today or not? Am I sleeping at least 7 hours? Those are 3 activities that I can track. And can you see how those 3 activities and whether you did them or not will help you to accomplish the larger high performance goal of becoming fitter, becoming more healthy? And this is how it helps you. You'll be able to ask yourself those 3 questions. Did I or did I not eat well today? Objectively, yes or no. Did I work out today? Yes or no. Did I sleep 7 hours or not? Yes or no. And you'll be able to see over time how these small and seemingly insignificant activities can be built up into you making high performance a habit and making sure that you are reaching the goals that you're trying to achieve almost because that's who you are, not because that's something that you're trying to do outside of. You don't have to extrinsically motivate yourself to achieve them. It becomes who you are. Now, the second way that tracking helps you build, well, actually, let me go back. Does anyone have anything, if I can go backwards and I pressed everything. Okay. Goal might be training for a job I want if it's not the job I have. So something that can work for that might be, did I spend, yeah, goals reading, doing trainings, etc. That's what I was going to say. You could say, I'm going to institute 30 minutes of learning for this new position. I'm going to do 20 minutes of reading in this particular position. Another way you can even make that better is to write about the readings that you're having. That way you're forcing yourself to read them and you have to understand them well enough for you to write about them. There's two levels of, I want to say intelligence, there's two levels of understanding. Doing the training is a great way to do it because if you can't teach it to someone else, you may not know it that well yourself. So those are great things to have as well. And the second way tracking helps you is tracking helps you build new habits. We were talking about before, we are what we repeatedly do. Runners run, readers read, high performers perform highly. So the question is, who do your habits say that you are? Not who do you want to be, not who do you aspire to be, but getting real and really honest with ourselves and looking at the actions that we habitually take each and every day and asking ourselves, what would I say about the person who does these particular things each and every day? Be honest with ourselves. And it also gives us the ability and the ownership to say, if we are what we repeatedly do, I just need to do different things and then I can become XYZ type person. So how can tracking help you to build those new habits? So habits come from doing something over a long period of time until it becomes conscious. According to some research that I was reading out of the University of Toronto, it takes around 66 days for you to turn a new activity into a habit. So when I say long period of time, it's not something typically it's going to take a year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. It can be done in about 2.5 months most of the time. 90 days would probably be about the longest one, as long as it's not something that's super extravagant. So the goal in this particular the goal that you might have might be is to make high performance a habit. And when that happens, high performance is not anything that you do anymore. It's who you are. I perform at a high level because that's who I am, not because I did this particular activity or I spent 30 minutes on doing this. Those intermediate habits built you into being a high performer. And as those become habits, that's just how you operate. So tracking helps you to do this because it encourages you to identify your KPIs like we did in the last section, select habits to build around them, and ensure our execution around them daily. So what I want you guys to do now is to pick one area that you want to have better habits in. So before we were talking about areas that you want to be a high performer in. Now we're talking about habits. Do you want to have better habits in what you are, going back to the other one, you want to have better habits around your financial responsibility. So choose two activities that you can track that will help you to become better in that area. One might be to do a nightly review of all of your expenses and your income statement, something that you can do regularly so that you can identify, okay, where's money going out? Where is money coming in? If you want to apply it into a workplace context, pick one area you want to have better habits in. It might be conducting yourselves during a meeting. So choose two activities you can track that will help you become better in that area. It might say, I want to make sure my phone is not visible, and I want to make sure that my email is closed during the meeting so I can stay focused. And then once again, 3, if you're brave, post something in the chat and I can help you to pick some things to track. So as you guys can see, there's similar processes, but the goal of it is to make high performance who you are rather than something that you do. But before it becomes a habitual action, it has to be something that's tracked, has to be something that's maintained, has to be something that we're looking at every day. We have to place our intention on it, because without that intention, we'll forget about it. We have a lot of other things going on. And another thing I just want to encourage you guys, I want my HP to be in freelance career as an editor and proofreader. Okay, great. So if thank you so much for sharing. If you want your high performance to be in a freelance career as an editor and a proofreader, one of the things that you could do is edit and proofread. So looking at other articles that are on the internet, other articles that are available. You could even do like a Fiverr or a freelance service and placing yourself, like you said, a freelance service, and just making sure you're consistently doing those things. Because if you want to be an editor, you need to edit. If you want to be a proofreader, you need to proofread. There is some learning encapsulated in both of those, but you get better usually by doing. We can have all the greatest theory in the world, we can have all the greatest books in the world, but until we actually engage in that process and apply those things, it's just great information to know. So looking at what you have, figuring out how can you edit something daily and how can you proofread something daily. And you track those activities until the point becomes where I'm an editor. Why? Because I edit. I'm a proofreader. Why? Because I proofread, and tracking can support you in that. And then the last one we're going to talk about is tracking helps you to stay on track. So there is this phrase, don't break the streak. So story time. Jerry Seinfeld, famous comedian, had the Seinfeld show for X amount of years, however how long it was approached by a starting comedian. And he asked Jerry, well, how did you get so successful? What did you do every day in order for you to go from where I'm at right now, starting, to being Jerry Seinfeld and having a show on TV and have it running in all of these years? And the answer that he got honestly surprised him. Jerry told him to go get a calendar and write a joke on that day. Now, once that joke has been written for that day, you mark that day off with an X. And then you just want to not break the streak. You just want to come up with one joke a day, as in consecutive days, as many days as possible. And this is what tracking can help you to do as well. It helps you to not break the streak. You know, and you can see, okay, I've been doing this for the past 14 days consistently. I missed 2 days, but I'm going to start back up. You have an awareness of knowing that you broke the streak. You can begin to analyze the days where the streak was broken to figure out what happened on these particular days in order for me to not continue this streak. And it gives you that level, like we talked about, of objectivity to know that it's not that I've been doing great, because after you've done it for 14 days and missed 2, you might feel like, hey, I'm doing pretty good. I've been doing it consistently for the past week or 2 weeks, but you've missed the last 2 days. So what we want to do, like we said in this particular one, is to not break the streak. We want to do those things each and every day. So we need to edit every day. We need to proofread every day. It doesn't have to be in an hour-long proofreading session. It doesn't have to be an hour-long editing session, but editing something every day, proofreading something every day, reading about the training for the job that you may not have every day, doing some sort of training, even if it's not facilitating the training, building a training. Can you make an outline about it? Can you share about it? Can you talk to someone about it each and every day to help us build up that acumen? Because over that process, we'll be able to become the thing that we're doing. If you write a joke every day for 4 or 5 years, guess what? You're a comedian. Why? Because you write jokes, and that's what comedians do, and you haven't broken that streak. So how tracking helps you to stay on track. So like we talked about before, it's a homeostatic principle. As humans, we have an innate desire to maintain stability in our lives, which is a type of homeostasis. Your body and you as a person want to continue to do the things that you are already doing, because even if it's uncomfortable, you've done it successfully. Your body looks at your present conditions and says, hey, I'm alive. I'm eating at least enough to continue to going. I'm drinking enough fluids. I have a roof over my head. Nothing's falling down. We should stay here. And this is where that homeostatic state comes from. So once again, homeostatic, the tendency towards a relatively stable equilibrium. You don't want things to change. You don't want to be too hot or too cold. You want to stay where you are. Now, when you combine that with Newton's second law of motion, an object in motion will stay in motion unless acted on by an outside force, you get an interesting combination. We will stay in a homeostatic state until we're acted on by an outside force. This can be a positive force, something knocking you out of the above average habitual habits that you have been performing into something greater. But it can also be a negative as well. If you're consistently having high performing habits, and you've done high performing habits for the last 30, 60, 90, 100, whatever it may be days, if something comes in and tries to knock you off, well, guess what? Your body will begin to fight against that because you are trying to be in a homeostatic state. But you won't get to that point until you get to the point where you are having a streak long enough that you don't want to break it. You want to maintain that level of homeostasis. And this is why keeping that streak is so essential. If you've built the habit of 2 days on here, 3 days off here, 1 day here, 2 days here, well, guess what? The more days you miss, the more likely you are to miss more days, because that's where that homeostasis comes in. So when we commit to doing things each and every day, it forces us to, it makes it more likely that we'll continue to be consistent, because that's our new homeostatic environment. So we bring attention to our streaks. We seek to maintain them because it has a homeostatic, because it has become a homeostatic event. We want to maintain the motion without being the outside influence that stops it. What does this mean? Your body also likes to have congruency within your actions and what you believe. So if you tell yourself you're a high performer and you have the streak going, you don't want to break the congruency with yourself, lie to yourself, go against what you've told yourself, and be the one that breaks that streak. It'll become more likely that the streak is broken by an outside force, but when you can see that happening, you can correct it. But when you continually tell yourself you're a high performer, you continually tell yourself these are the activities that we do each and every day, it becomes much less likely that you'll be the one to say, although I do this activity every day, I'm just not going to do it this day. You'll have that incongruency because part of your brain will say, but I'm a high performer. And then another part of your brain will say, but I don't want to be a high performer right now. And those things don't match up. And that's where that conflict and that stress comes in. So we don't want to be we don't want to be the source of that breaking of the streak. And a great way to do that is to make sure you maintain it. So that's what I have to say about that one. That was a little bit longer and it was kind of circular, but I wanted to make sure that I landed on that one a little bit. And the way that we can do this is build your own high performance tracker. So what I'm going to do here is, if my computer responds, is show you a daily high performance tracker and how you can utilize it in order to promote your journey to high performance in as little as 10 minutes a day. This doesn't have to be anything super crazy. So what you can do, and you guys will have access to this template, and I'll tell you how to get it in just a second. You can place your KPIs across the top. So let's say that one of mine is, I want to make sure I'm planning my days. Just put in planning my days because that supports my productivity and allows me to have a plan of when I'm going to do my most important activities each and every day. The next one might be to follow a diet. Just following a diet, making sure that I'm not getting off a diet. If you follow a diet and you solely follow a diet, you'll have most of the time you'll have positive health benefits from that. It's when we go going off the diet is when issues happen. So planning my days, following a diet, and then one could just be morning routine. Starting off with a powerful morning where I am planning my days, I'm meditating, I'm journaling, whatever it needs to be done each and every day in order for me to be successful. So what you'll do is you'll have your KPIs across here, and I'll even freeze this for you guys. So when you scroll down, it'll be there. You'll find whatever today's date is. You can do this 10 minutes at the end of the day. What I do is I have an alarm on my phone set for 8 p.m. When the alarm goes off, that means I need to do this thing. So I sit down, find today, and I ask myself these questions. Did I plan my day today? Yes or no? The answer is yes, we click it. If the answer is no, we don't. Did I follow my diet today? Yes. Did I do my morning routine? Yes. And what happens is you'll be able to see a pattern. It gives you that objective information about, hey, I'm really good at planning my days. I was really good at planning my days from the 12th to the 19th, but the 20th and the 21st, I didn't. What happened on those days? You might find out, well, I was traveling on those days and I woke up just enough time for me to get to the airport, so I didn't have time to travel. Well, a solution for that could be, I need to plan those days, travel days, the night before I go on travel, because I know I'm not going to have time to do it. And now it allows you to be more proactive and more involved in your planning and figuring out the solution rather than just saying, I just missed 2 days, I'll have to do better going forward. So this is the information that the tracker gives you to do. And like I said, it only takes you 10 minutes a day to go through. It's really, really simple and intuitive to use. There's a more in-depth explanation on how to use it and some of the intricacies here that you guys will have access to. It's literally just a YouTube video that you can click. That's what it's linked to. And it gives you that visual confirmation of, all right, I've been streaking on this for the past 9 to 10 days. If you've been streaking on it for the past 9 to 10 days, it makes it a lot less likely that you skip tomorrow or you skip today. Why? Because you don't want to break the streak. This is becoming your homeostatic setup for your life. Your homeostasis becomes, I plan my days, and guess what? That moves me closer to high performance. If we have one where I'm, say, a deep work session. If you have a deep work session, and let's say you've done your deep work session from, let's see if I can do all these at once. Nope. You've done your deep work session for, I don't know, half a year. Well, guess what? it's gone from you doing deep work sessions every day for half a year to I do deep work sessions. And that shift now makes you a person who performs deep work because of the habits that you are putting together rather than I just did deep work on any given day. You habitually become what you do. Like we talked about, whatever you do is who you are. You are what you do. And this helps you to make sure that you're picking the activities that will help you to achieve high performance. How do weekends play to this? How break the safe if I don't do deep work on the weekends? That is something, those are rules that you can institute with yourself. I'm not going to be one that says, I, I'm not going to be the one that says, well, you need to make sure that you're working on the weekends just so you won't have consistency. You'll have consistency in everything that goes on. But those rules need to be instituted at the beginning of your journey rather than, oh, I missed it on this particular day, therefore I'm not going to do it on the weekends. So we want to be proactive in choosing our rules and our conditions to what our parameters are rather than reactive to them. Are you going to see them all at the very beginning? No. But if you know that you don't work on the weekends, you can take those off of being considered. Or you could even approach it a different way. Just because you're doing a deep work session doesn't mean it needs to be about a work-related activity. It could be about one of your hobbies. It could be about gardening or, I don't know, playing basketball or something. I don't know, something along those lines. You're doing a deep work. You're applying the deep work framework to an activity that wouldn't normally constitute as work. And that's the way that I would approach it. So you're still in the habit of doing deep work, but you're just not pulling out spreadsheets, answering email, doing client projects, whatever it may be, but you're still performing that. So this is how you would use this performance tracker. Let me take these off. And you all, as a thank you for attending, will also have access to this high performance tracker template so that you can go through and, like we talked about in some of the other activities, where you are picking an area to have better habits in, choosing those 2 activities that will help you to become better in that area, or picking that, picking an area you want to become a high performer in and choosing those 3 activities that you can track that will help you become a better performer in that area. You can find those out, list them across here, and now you have 5 ways that you can build better habits and become a high performer that you're tracking each and every day with a goal of making them become habits. Because once again, we are what we do. We're not who we are because of some labeling system. We are what we do. And so if you're doing these things consistently, if you're doing high performing activities consistently, you become a high performer. So what I will do is I'm going to place, move this chat out the way, going to place this link to this presentation inside of the chat. And I will also email it out to everyone who's registered as well. So if you have it here, great. If you don't worry about it. It'll be coming shortly. And on the last slide, there is a slide that says example. You can click here to complete the survey to get your high performance tracker. This is a very, very quick survey about this particular training. This will help me to make the following trainings a lot more applicable, a lot more pertinent to what you're going through, and helping just to make them better going forward. So it's really great, real simple, nothing crazy. I'm not going to ask you like anything that was super in depth. And once you have submitted everything, you'll be taken to, if my toolbar moves out the way, you'll be taken to this particular sheet. Oh my goodness, come on now, guys. There we go. You'll be taken to this particular sheet. You'll come here and you will make a copy. It should do make a copy already for you, but if it doesn't, file, make a copy, and you can name it whatever you want to, and you'll have your own daily performance tracker. Not only will you have that, you'll have a video on how to use it. If you guys have any other questions about anything, please feel free to reach out to me either on LinkedIn or through my email, and I will make sure to answer you all as quickly as I can. Well, that was a lot of me talking. So you guys now know how you can track your way to high performance in literally only 10 minutes a day. This isn't something that has to take forever. Does anyone have any questions, comments, concerns about what we talked about today? Awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Well, this is something that I'm going to be doing monthly, putting together trainings on the topics of high performance and productivity. So if you guys have any other topics that you would like to see me address or put together a training on, please feel free to let me know. I can add them to the schedule and make sure that I'm giving you guys what you all are asking for and giving you all what would be most beneficial for you in your stage of life and your career or your business. So that's what I have for you guys. This has been recorded as well. I'll record it and I'll send you guys the recording of this video along with the slides. If you have any other questions, feel free to comment, let me know, and I will see you guys for the next one. I'll hang around a little bit if you guys have any other questions, but you all are free to go. Thank you all so much for attending.